Yeah, welcome to the major leagues. But, you know, Mike, yesterday, one of the real Bush League moves over the past couple days was when Mike Pence went out and announced that ISIS had been defeated, just like Donald Trump had announced ISIS had been defeated. Take a quick look.
Thanks to the leadership of this commander-in-chief and the courage and sacrifice of our armed forces, we're now actually able to begin to hand off the fight against ISIS in Syria to our coalition partners, and we are bringing our troops home. The caliphate has crumbled, and ISIS has been defeated.
I mean, Mike, what makes that even more Bush League is that was after the attack. The attack where 4 Americans were killed, twice as many as had been killed in a 2 to 3 year long deployment. And boy, you listen to Lindsey Graham, Marco Rubio, and we'll play some of those clips next block. There are more than a few Republicans suggesting that it was Donald Trump's retreat from the region and him handing it over to Vladimir Putin and Erdogan and the mullahs in Iran and Assad that actually encouraged ISIS to attack yesterday.
Joe, this is another result of foreign policy by impulse, which is what Donald Trump's statement really was. It was an impulsive statement. We're going to withdraw all of our soldiers, all of our troops from Syria within 30 days. That's what he originally said. And now Vice President Pence yesterday speaking about ISIS as it has been defeated. It has not been defeated. ISIS is an ideology that is rooted in the ground in certain regions of this world, and Syria happens to be a hotbed of ISIS. It is it's thriving to a certain extent. It is not going away. It has been diminished. There's no doubt about that, but it is not defeated.
And yet, Caddy K, the president is standing firm. He got support yesterday from Senator Rand Paul, who's helped guide this policy in Syria, saying thank you for pulling us out and getting us out of these never-ending wars. Don't get the impression, Jonathan can speak to this too, that the president is even reconsidering the idea of getting out of Syria.
No, the president came in saying he didn't understand why Americans were fighting around the world in bits of the world that didn't really concern America, and it played into this narrative that he has that America is somehow being taken advantage of in other countries. Why are American troops there in Syria? Syria is far away. It doesn't really affect us. But Mike is quite right. Look, we had not just the attack yesterday in Syria, we had the attack the day before that in Kenya, also Islamic militants. This is a dangerous ideology that is clearly right there. And whilst in the White House I could see, you might say, well, if America, and some White House aides have suggested this, if we hadn't been there in the first place, then those 4 Americans wouldn't have got killed in Syria. But as any military strategist would be prepared to tell them, and I'm sure General Mattis told them this, it's a very different thing, the idea of going in, to once you're there, then pulling out. And once you're there, then pulling out in circumstances where the ideology is still strong and you are putting yourself and your allies at risk. And yesterday's attack, if this is ISIS feeling emboldened and wanting to show that they are still present, this is exactly the kind of thing that comes about from something like Mike calls foreign policy by impulse.
And ISIS certainly, it's not the first time that ISIS is going to fill a power void that was created by the United States in a speedy retreat. It's happening again, Mika. And when you actually have the vice president, who good luck running in any Republican primary in the future ever again for the rest of his life. Maybe he and Rand Paul can go out and golf in Kentucky, like in their old age, because that's about as close as he's going to get to an office again. But you go out and you say that ISIS is dead, ISIS is finished, ISIS is wiped out. All you're doing is encouraging, Mika, the type of attacks that we saw yesterday that killed 4 Americans.
This isn't high-level thinking. This is pretty basic, and that was pretty staggering. I'm not sure how he could bring himself to do that, or how unaware
You mean Mike
he could have
Pence
been
saying that
making
after?
that speech.
Yeah,
yes, absolutely.
Unbelievable.
Still ahead on Morning Joe, we're going to hear some of the stories of Americans across the country who have personally been impacted by the ongoing government shutdown.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.